How
All
you
right,
doing?
Tim. Yeah, I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, feeling busy at the moment. Everything kind of relaxed, chilled out a little bit now.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Having some
Overall,
problem with the technique. That's why I'm a bit late.
no problem. It's not a problem at all. I'm just glad to speak to you. Yeah, it's been an incredible little period of time for, of course, the Hate project. Everyone overall in the band, do you feel like you're doing well, considering we're over halfway through the year now?
Um, I mean, it's our first release with a bigger label,
Mm,
except for the single, but that was just like you know, dipping our toes in the water first time. Now it's like a real release, and we didn't really. I mean, we didn't know what to expect,
of course.
so we just now we are sitting here hoping something will happen. Will we get some gigs? Will one of the songs blow up? Who knows? Who knows?
But overall, is it fair to say the first half of 2023 has been a good year? And do you have any particular highlights you can point at, aside, I guess, from the release of the new EP?
Hmm. I mean, we did our two first international gigs this year. So we went to Denmark
Mm,
and we went to Berlin together with
fantastic.
two other bands, Hanging the Nihilist and Ruin of Self-Perception. Great guys, and I mean, it was a fun experience. Long trip, but it was worth it.
If you're able to reflect positively on it, ultimately that's the most important thing. Memories like that, first time traveling outside the country and so on, all of that is always just it's memory making.
It is. It is.
Well, of course, the new EP, Blessed with Malevolence. It's out now via Seek and Strike, a fantastic release that really shows off all the strengths within the band and also how you're kind of moving forward. But I want you to take me back to the early days of its creation, in particular, what your vision looked like for it.
That's a hard question. Um, when we write, it's
Mm.
usually since it's me and Oliver plays guitar,
Yep.
and we do most of the say we put down the guitars and like just put some basic drums or something and some bass when we record. And this EP was the first time I did more
Mm.
songwriting. Because when I joined the band, when we started it in like 2019, 20, I didn't even listen to deathcore. Like
Mm.
I've been more like bands like Tool, Meshuggah. So like Meshuggah is probably the heaviest one I like. So when I can't speak for Oliver, but when I did my the parts I didn't have a particular thought in mind. Like it was
Mm.
more an experience doing like a music kind of music I never written before.
Yeah.
But I think it worked out pretty fine anyway. Like
Did you know then that it was always going to be an EP? So you're starting to write, you're starting to get some ideas, starting to create. Did you initially think, okay, we're going to release an EP, or this could be an album, or we'll see what songs we end up with?
we were pretty sure that the first release we were going to do with Seek and Strike was going to be an EP.
Hmm.
Yeah, we wanted to do just like test the waters and stuff before we did a full album.
And when Seek and Strike came calling, as it were, was there any doubt? Was there any unsureness about joining the label and working with them?
I mean, no,
Mm.
when we saw the roster and um, it seemed like a serious label. I mean, other than like some legal questions, because we have never signed with the label before.
Yep.
Like we did read through the contract, and we had to ask some people we know or something, like what does this mean? Is this like the
Yeah.
industry standard? I mean, other than that, we didn't have any issues. When
And
we
you
saw them
found,
like a real opportunity for us, and like a serious red label.
they are an incredible label, as you said. The roster speaks for itself. And have they been very supportive of you in regards to what you've done up to this point?
Yeah, but I say they're pretty supportive of all the bands, and they currently have signed. We've spoken to Ray, one of the what you call it, founders or driving forces behind it, and he says that they obviously try to put equal amount of time for all bands, and that was one of the things they said to us before we signed, and one of the things that like helped us, like
Yeah.
feel like we were welcome, and like it was gonna be worth it to sign with them.
Oh, I'm glad. Going back to the EP then, was there anything specific, any specific things that occurred along the way as you were working on it, as you were creating, that ended up helping shape what it became in the end?
Nothing super specific, but it also, it's one of the first time everyone had a little bit of input. So like I said before, I didn't write any deathcore before starting this band. So like the first album is the other guitarist, Oliver's. He's like the mastermind behind that one. But starting with EP before, I started helping him with a bit of, just like when he wanted to complete a few songs, but he got stuck. So we met, and I like helped him get through some where we were stuck. But this time, before we started to like finish the songs, we gathered the whole band, and everyone get to say the inputs. If they think, I like this part, but this part I think is a little bit meh, we should probably change it up. And that was the first time like everyone had a say in how the songs would turn out.
Do you think that worked better for you as a group?
Yeah, I think pretty much turned out for the better. It also helps, like if you, it's always a balance, because it can be very hard to write songs if you're too many, like everyone have something to say,
Wrong
and
bits
you don't
in.
get, you don't get anywhere. But like coming in when the song is starting to take shape, and then you can have like opinions, and you want to make one part heavier or one part is I mean, I think some of the songs would definitely not have been as good as they got if we haven't done that. So yeah.
Oh, well, that's incredible. I think it speaks for itself. The quality of the EP speaks for itself. And it is a deeply personal EP, dealing with addictions in particular. What made you want to delve into such a powerful and wide-ranging subject? It's not easy to talk about stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm the right person to answer this, because it's Anton, the vocalist, the singer, who writes all the lyrics, and some of it is personal, some of it's maybe inspired by events in his life. But I mean,
What about your
I can say,
feelings? What about your feelings when you first, heard or read the lyrics and saw the association and connection to the music as well? What did you feel at the time? Do you remember?
it was, how many months? First time I read the lyric must have been like almost a year ago. I can't really remember how I felt then.
What about?
No, you can.
Well, what about some of the more challenging aspects of working on this EP? So you know you're going to be putting it on Seek and Strike. You know, ultimately you want to move the Hate project a little bit forward. You want to show your development as a musician. What were some of the challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Ooh, challenges. I guess one of the challenges I've always had with the way we write music is it's very machine-like. Maybe it's like very typical of deathcore in general, like very not very organic in the way that you write, like you record, and it's very. And I've always had the mind that I want to have it a bit more organic, have a bit more of the what do you say, like random elements.
Yeah.
But it's very hard with the way we write, since we don't do we go into a studio and everyone sits there and what happens. We do very much of the recording at home. So I do my guitars at home, and Oliver does his guitars at home, and now we don't record the drums in a studio, because it increases the cost of making an album very much, the recording drums. So for now we would like to do it, but instead of doing like one release each year, or maybe two if we're very inspired, maybe we have to do one every 3 years. So we, at the moment, we'd rather just do it like this. But as I said, the challenge with that, it becomes very machine-like, very
robotic
in a way. And so the challenge is always trying to get it not as robotic, even if it's very common in this genre to have the like robotic.
No, I understand what you mean. And on the opposite side of that, what about the thing you enjoyed the most from a personal perspective, you alone, the thing you enjoyed the most about this process working on Blessed with Malevolence?
I would say writing the music, and the part when we like sit together and discuss which part we like, which part we would like to change. That part is, for me personally, it's the best part. I love writing the music. I'm not really much a big fan of recording it, because I find it a bit tedious sitting there and then just it wasn't tight enough. I have to do it again
and again and again and again.
Yeah, I hate that part, but it has to be done.
Have you noticed that there's any particular track from the EP that seems to be resonating with the listeners more than any other?
Hard to say. I mean, it's only been out, the full EP has only been out for like, what is it, 4 days?
In a short amount of time, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously the single obviously has about a much higher spread than the other ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, as what we can see now,
yeah,
all of the songs getting pretty much a lot of plays and spread. I'm guessing like Needle Fanatic, the other one we had the music video for, the other music video have been getting it's pretty close to the Blessed with Malevolence single.
Well, because it's a digestible EP, you know, there's kind of no reason why people are jumping from one to another until they eventually find their favorites and then kind of come back to it. And the moment that you just listen to it in a nice, juicy, enjoyable block, because it is so digestible. which is such an important part of making modern music, unfortunately. Attention spans. And I have to ask then, do you as a group think you've got a good handle on the modern expectations of being in a band? And what I mean by that is social media, the demand for you to have fresh content out regularly and stuff like that.
Ooh. We have a grasp that we know we have to do it. But I wouldn't say we have someone in the band that's like a natural at it. That's one of the great things with being signed to Seek and Strike. They know they have a bit more experience with doing this, so they just tell us, "This is a great idea. Do this. This is a great idea. Do this." And we just, okay, let's do it. But none of us is like, like. All of us have like an Instagram, but maybe I do one picture each year or something. So it's like I'm not super active on social media and stuff. And I think no one else in the band is really into that stuff. But we try.
You try. It's all you can do. It is a necessary evil. But on that same subject, I have to ask you then as well, the most important part of it. When you do have to do it, do you enjoy it, or would you just prefer not to?
I mean, usually it's just like when we do a music video, we take some pictures and we do a teaser on Instagram, stuff like that. So it's usually not a big deal. So I'd say we're pretty neutral to it. Like we don't hate it, but we'd rather not do it. If someone else could do it for us, I'm pretty sure most of us would say, yeah, you do it.
Take over, please. Absolutely. Yeah. Everybody wants and needs a social media manager, but getting one is not easy and certainly not cheap.
Yeah.
So the remainder of 2023, what plans do you have in the works for the rest of the year that you can talk about?
Oh, yeah. What plans do we have? Since I mean, we started, like I said before, we started the band late 19, early 20, and as most people probably know, that was right before the corona and the lockdowns, and
there it is.
So like our first gigs that we were supposed to have was like 2020 in May, I think, was supposed to be our first real gig, which obviously got canceled because the restriction in Sweden anyway came at the end of March. So we had, basically 2 years we were supposed to be out and playing, where we were just writing music instead, doing releases. So we are a bit behind on the live performance stuff. Like I think we only had like the Berlin, the latest one we did, I guess would have been our 5th or 6th like live gig ever with this band. And so the plan for 2023 would be like maybe get a bit more experience with the live, and like develop our live shows, and obviously writing music, but that we always write music. It's like something we never stop, and it's like you do it when you have time, when you have do some riffs.
Yeah.
But like the big thing for 2023, if we're talking about the plan, would be live shows.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping, expecting you to kind of go then say that as well. Expectations, of course, because, you mentioned it, COVID and lockdowns and being unable to move for such a long period of time. You need to make up for lost time. The world has opened up. There's an incredible array of countries throughout Europe and abroad for you to explore. Even into 2024, I'll imagine you're going to be non-stop busy. And that's just incredible to hear.
We hope.
That is it. Okay,
But you
we
never know.
reached the...
You never know.
No, of course, that's the thing. Just fingers crossed. We reached part of the interview now where it's basically a slight switch up. This is Ozzy Osbourne, and he has a bunch of random questions that can be anything. I'm just going to pull out a few and we'll go through them. So we'll start with number 30. What is the last record you bought?
Ooh. Which one? So we're talking like physical copy of a record?
Yeah, physical copy, absolutely.
I haven't bought one in a really long time, but I would say
Yeah.
the last one I bought would be Black Sabbath's last album, the 13. That will probably be the last one I bought.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Oh wow! That's been a while.
Been a while.
Okay. What is the worst piece of advice you have ever received?
Ooh.
Now, suppose you could take this from a personal angle or from a band angle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's pretty hard because I guess I'm pretty good at filtering out. If I think something's bad, I just okay.
Well done, you. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I don't really put them. None of them has been like so outrageous that I like, wow, that's a really bad one.
Yeah.
It's mostly just like small things. You don't pay them any mind. You just that doesn't sound
Sound like a good idea.
Yeah, you just oh.
You've had your fair share of that though, yeah? And having to filter out.
Yeah.
Say no more, we'll pull another one out then. Okay, number 8. And this is, who would play you in a movie or a TV show about your life?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe in Berlin, someone said I look like Johnny Depp on stage. So maybe Johnny Depp. I'm guessing because of I always do my hair in the back. So I look like, I don't know, some of the characters he's played, maybe. I don't know where it came from.
Maybe it's interesting. It's interesting. Maybe it is. I can kind of see it with a younger Johnny Depp. Not so much Johnny Depp as he is now, older, but definitely I can kind of get what they're getting at. Johnny Depp, great actor for it.
Hopefully.
Okay, number 10. What is your earliest memory of playing a video game?
Ooh. Ooh, that's one of the earliest ones. Would be, which one would be? I think it's, oh, what's it called? I know it's a pretty famous one. It was on the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
And it was, I didn't know at the time, but now when I've seen it on the internet, like when people talk about it, it was famous for being super hard. I didn't give it any thought at the time. I think it's called, you like played a little knight and you're supposed to get through.
Oh, Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah, that could be it. That one I had on the Super Nintendo when I was young. I never got past the second level because it was.
If it is Ghosts and Goblins and you made it to the second level, you did better than most people because that game is incredibly hard.
Yeah, I got like. I remember I could finish the first one, but I could never pass the second one.
Fantastic. You've got to find that again and try it out and see if you're better these days. Okay, one more then for you, and we shall pull out number 55. What is one thing you should always take with you to a festival?
I mean, the most obvious thing is water, I would probably say. Maybe that's too obvious. Like staying hydrated, so important.
You say it's obvious, but it is one of those things that people regularly forget to do. I've done it over my years at festivals. Drink too much alcohol, not enough water, and you will regret it. I think the most obvious answer would have been a tent or something like that. So yes, water, absolutely, particularly in this hot weather.
Especially.
Incredible. So, Blessed with Malevolence. It is out now via Seek and Strike. It's an incredible EP. I cannot wait to see what you do going forward, and I cannot wait to see you appearing live throughout Europe and hopefully in the UK at some point in the next 12 months. Tim, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?